Better?
Yes, thank you.
In fact, Bob Abel calls that a synapse sequence. It's intended as a high-speed action replay of everything you've explored.
It seems to me that if people are going to make sense of all this, there's a kind of language that has to be invented.
Yes, like films have a grammar that someone who'd never seen one would probably have difficulty following. The jump cut, the sudden juxtaposition of scenes and images, time jumps, zooms, handheld shots, fades, all the sort of things that make a modern movie much richer than just a camera stuck in front of a plane. Abel Gance and D.W. Griffiths invented a lot of these techniques way back in the early part of the century. But they became... No! Oh! Ah! Ah! Ooh! Ooh! Oh! 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 Ah! 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 You see the sort of thing I mean?
Yes, but that grammar has to evolve gradually, doesn't it? Or people will just get lost.
Yes, and a lot of thought has been going into exactly how it should work. Have a look at what the Multimedia Lab have been up to while I get myself cleaned up.
We're trying to explore the area of multimedia. The idea is that in the computing environment, you have images and sounds, and you want to think about what you can do with those. You want to think about what you can make with them. You want to think about what you can understand with them. And we're finding the rules for doing that.
The group itself is made up of a lot of diverse and very rich talents and backgrounds, and I think there's a lot to be learned from how you...
One of the interesting features of multimedia is that it allows you to put together many different stories. So it's not just one story, but it's really a multiplicity of interwoven stories or representations. And it's that multiplicity that makes the difference. The fact that you can really hitchhike from one to another, bounce around, and compare different points of view.
I think people, as they're watching a drama, will be motivated to find out more about it if it's a good drama. What we need to provide for them is a simple way to quickly get to that information if they have the urge to do so. And then they'll find their own idiosyncratic path. We don't need to prepare that path for them. I think Life Story is a good example of that, where people can leave the drama and dive into more information about DNA or about the race.
We're looking at a demonstration prototype that we built around a film called Life Story, produced by the BBC about the discovery of the DNA double helix by Jim Watson and Francis Crick in 1953. One of the things that this prototype allows us to do is to play back key scenes from the drama. For instance, the first encounter between Jim Watson and Francis Crick.
You're interested in genes?
Certainly. All yours.
Where would you look for a gene if you were looking?
Excuse me. My hunch is the nucleic acid. I mean, you ask me what's fun. Right now, I'd say DNA.
Me too. I'm sorry, is it Francis? Jim.
Hello.
Now that we've been introduced to the key characters, we can explore other scenes in the drama using this plot map. For instance, let's select the next scene down, Why DNA?
Why DNA?
Because it's there,
Doing nothing.
in every single living cell.
Whereas so far the gene is an entirely imaginary entity, a function without substance.
DNA is a substance without a function. They're made for each other. Now, what's it made of? Okay, we know that, the phosphates and the 4 bases.
Well, what shape is it? I mean, in all probability, a helix.
Helix.
This scene has piqued our curiosity, and yet there are words that I can't understand. One of the tools that this example provides is an ability to query the transcript of the scene, which allows us to select words we don't understand, such as, for instance, DNA. I am then taken to a new pamphlet of information, this time about DNA, and I can browse through animations that show me the molecular structure of DNA, or select Fireside Conversation to watch a documentary interview with the actual Watson and Crick talking about their working relationship.
Francis, do you think we were lucky to have solved it? Or was it real brain work on our part?
Well, I guess we were certainly lucky. And, of course, you give the impression in your book, Jim, we didn't really do too much thinking. But we were lucky, I think, for two reasons. We were thinking about the problem at the right time. And then the two of us, by collaborating, when one of us got on the wrong track, the other one could get us out of it.
I've often had the thought, that in a slightly different way, that if either of us, were either 2 years older or 2 years younger, at least in my case, I would have never solved it.
So you see what's happened. We've jumped from a drama about Watson and Crick to this wealth of...
So with all this jumping around in what's supposed to be a drama, what happens to stories? More to the point, what happens to authors?
Haven't you ever wished in writing a story that you could take several alternative paths through it?
No.
Don't talk such rot. I happen to know you've written interactive fiction yourself. Shut up and don't be difficult. Push a button.
Can I go out the door? I click here.
Who are the children? Are they playing a computer game?
No, they're far too old for that. They're playing at cat and mouse. It's a form of interactive storytelling.
Press on the path, come on. Press on the path. And press on those D's, go.
My stories are different from stories that a child would read in a book because, first of all, they're very much visually oriented. The child actually moves the pointing device to an area that interests her. And there may be several on the screen at one time, and she can choose which one looks the most interesting to her. And each object leads down a different branch of the story. Each branch leads eventually to a happy ending.
Gone inside a tree. But, no, don't press on the bird. Yeah, do it. Oh. Birds.
It's possible to combine storytelling with interactivity if you take the story apart and make sure that each thread or each branch that allows a choice is a story in itself. If you have 3 branches that all lead to the same ending, each one has to be an equally valid story, and that is the challenge. It's similar to literature in the sense that a really good story has different levels. You bring your own degree of maturity to it. Kipling did that. His stories were enjoyed by children and adults.
Knock. Knock.
Who's there?
Tom.
Tom who?
I haven't got a second name.
Oh.
You seem disappointed.
I thought you were trying to tell me a joke.
So did I. I'm not very good at it, am I? Computers don't understand about jokes. Artificial intelligence engineers have been trying to understand how jokes work for years. There's a worrying feeling that it's nothing to do with intelligence. How many artificial intelligence engineers does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know.
No, neither do they.
Well, that was quite a good one.
Good what?
Oh, never mind. So, you haven't got a second name then, Tom?
Well, no. Not unless you give me one.
Well, most people get their second names from their father. I suppose you haven't got one.
Oh, yes, I have.
Well, what's his name?
Ask him.
Hi. Or let me put that another way. Hi. My name is... Well, I have a problem with my name. The people who created me, Michael Warman and Brandy Graff, did a pretty amazing job. I represent one of the most astounding feats of real-time computer animation to date. I can talk, I can sing, I can... Well, all right, I can't dance because I haven't got a body, but who's perfect? So what did they call me? Supremo the Magnificent? Zagarabanza the Completely Astounding? No. They call